Hey everyone, welcome back to Next Paradigm by Odin Labs, where we explore the science of health, longevity, and biohacking without the fluff. I'm Zara, and with me as always is our resident biohacker, Alex. Hey Alex!
Hey, Zara. I'm excited for today's episode. We're diving deep into how our bodies actually detox. And I don't mean green juice or celebrity cleanses. We're talking about real biology here, systems biology of the detoxification. Do you know, for example, that 97% of Americans have BPA in their blood, plus one in three adults have fatty liver? uh, and most don't even know it. These are not fringe issues, really.
Oh wow, that's just crazy. So you mean that detox is not just a popular thing people talk about? I have heard everyone and their mother talking about how we need to detox. It's a very popular concept.
Exactly. Detoxification isn't a wellness trend, it's a built in daily survival mechanism. And at the center of it all is the liver. Uh, but it doesn't act alone. There is a whole team of organs involved: the liver, gut, kidneys, lymphatic system, the skin. It's a full body operation.
Let's start with the liver. What makes it the MVP of detox?
The liver is like your body's chemical factory and border control, essentially. Everything that gets absorbed from our digestive tract, food, medicine, toxins, goes straight to the liver first. It filters, modifies, stores, neutralizes, and sends things out for excretion. It also plays a big role in your immune system.
Wait, the liver is part of the immune system too?
Yep, it has a special immune cells it, called Kuffer cells that act like bouncers. They grab bacteria, viruses, and other unwanted particles in the blood and neutralize them. So while the liver is metabolizing things, it's also scanning for invaders.
Multitasking at its finest. What else does it do?
Well, it stores nutrients like vitamin A, D, and B12, regulates blood sugar, and even breaks down hormones to keep your endocrine system in balance. When it comes to detox, its main role is to transform harmful substances so they can be basically safely eliminated. Which brings us to the three detox phases. The liver is your body's main detoxifier, filter, and metabolic hub. It manages everything from nutrients to toxins to immune surveillance.
I'd heard of phase 1 and 2 detox, but what actually happens in those steps?
Good question. Okay, so let's break it down. Think of detox as a three-step recycling system. So phase one is like unboxing and tagging dangerous items. Liver enzymes called cytochrome P450 break down toxins into smaller, often more reactive compounds. So phase two is the packaging stage. Uh, so the liver attaches helper molecules like glutathione, sulfur, or amino acids to those reactive byproducts to neutralize them. Phase three is a shipping phase. Uh, these now water soluble toxins are pushed into bile to go out in your stool or sent to your kidneys to exit through urine.
So each phase has to work well for the whole system to function properly?
Yeah, most people think they're just getting older or they need more caffeine. But the truth is, you're not really tired. You're probably toxic. When your detox pathways are jammed, energy production slows to a crawl. If phase one is overactive, but phase two is sluggish, these reactive intermediates can damage your cells. So, balance really is the key.
Can genetics affect how fast or slow these detox phases work?
Absolutely. Some people have certain gene expressions like the COMT, GST, MTHFR genes that affect detox efficiency. That's why two people can respond very different to the same exposure. Your liver detoxes in three coordinated phases, support each phase with the right nutrients, And remember, genetics can impact how well these pathways function.
So your liver detoxes in 3 coordinated phases. Supporting each phase with the right nutrients is crucial, and genetics definitely play a role in how well these pathways function. What about the other organs? How do they help with detox?
Well, let's go one by one. So the gut acts like your bouncer. A healthy gut barrier keeps toxins out, and gut bacteria can break down and bind some toxins so that they are excreted. The kidneys filter water-soluble waste from the blood and eliminate it through urine. They work closely with the liver. The lymphatic system drains excess fluid and waste from tissues and carries it out through lymph nodes for the immune filtering. The skin, through sweat, helps expel some heavy metals and chemical compounds. It's a backup route.
And I've heard the gut and liver are closely connected.
Yeah, that's called gut-liver axis. Uh, the liver receives blood directly from the intestines, so anything that leaks through the gut, especially in a condition called leaky gut, can increase liver workload. Endotoxins like LPS from gut bacteria can reach the liver and trigger chronic inflammation. That's a hidden driver of fatty liver and even autoimmunity.
Wow, so gut health directly impacts liver health.
Exactly. And it's a two-way street. If the liver isn't clearing toxins properly, it can harm the gut barrier too. It's a feedback loop in a sense.
What role does the microbiome play in detox?
Well, an essential one, um, certain probiotic strains like Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Saccharomyces boulardii, can bind toxins like BPA and even some heavy metals, reducing how much gets absorbed. They also help keep the gut lining strong and reduce inflammation. Your gut flora are part of the detox team, essentially. Uh, the gut and the liver work hand in hand. Gut health and microbiome directly impact how well your body can detoxify.
Got it. So the gut and liver are basically a tag team when it comes to detox. That's pretty fascinating. Let's talk about the toxins themselves. What are the biggest offenders?
Well, here are some of the big ones. So I'm sure you've heard mercury. It can be like from fish, from pollution. Uh, it binds to glutathione, but accumulates over time. So lead, from old paint or pipes, mimic calcium, gets and essentially gets stored in bones. BPA from plastics mimics estrogen, links to metabolic disruptions and some hormonal issues. Actually, CDC data shows that over 90% of people tested have detectable BPA. So that's a pretty big one. Alcohol, as much as we might not like it, creates toxin intermediates. Acid aldehyde depletes glutathione, very similar to how mercury does. Pesticides, the trigger detox enzymes, but are pro-inflammatory over the long term, so they cause a problem.
Is it normal to feel worse during detox?
Yes, absolutely. When the body starts mobilizing stored toxins, you can feel what's called a Herxheimer's reaction or detox symptoms like fatigue, headaches, rashes, mood swings. It usually means elimination pathways need extra support. They just can't support the load of toxins that you're sending their way.
How can people support themselves during those times?
That's where binders come in. So this is something really interesting. So people can take things like activated charcoal, chlorella, bentonite clay. Uh, they can help mop up the toxins in the gut, uh, but they need to be timed well. Taken away from like food or medication because they can bind to those as well, and used for short term. It's not a long term solution.
And this ties into how people feel mentally too, right?
Absolutely. When detox systems are sluggish and the toxins build up, people often report brain fog or anxiety and low mood. Those are common ones as well. Liver doesn't just filter chemicals; it affects your hormones and neurotransmitters as well. People think detox is a scam because they're associated with things like juice fasts. But detoxification is literally happening in your cells every minute. Without it, you will simply die. That's not some wellness stuff. That's simple biochemistry. So I think the point here that we need to bring up is that you need to free up your detoxification pathways and make them work properly, and then detox will not be an issue. Toxins are everywhere, but your body can handle them with the right support. And when it can't, it might feel, like in your mood, energy, or even skin.
All right, Alex, we've talked about how the liver works, the detox phases, and the organs that help. But let's say someone's been eating poorly, drinking often, living in a polluted city, and they're starting to feel the effects: fatigue, brain fog, maybe blood work showing elevated liver enzymes. What can someone actually do to restore liver function?
Okay, that's a great question, Zara. And honestly, one of the most empowering parts about this whole conversation, the liver is one of the most regenerative organs in your body. So you can restore function. You can lose up to 70% of it and still have it regrow. So, yes, there are things we can do to support and restore it, but we have to look at it holistically. Everyone chasing kind of the next supplement or performance hack, but the truth is, you can't hack your way out of blocked drain. Uh, if detox is clogged, your body is recycling stress essentially over and over again.
So, what can we do to reduce the toxic load?
Well, step one is simple: stop the incoming overload. Think of liver as an overworked employee. First thing you do isn't giving it more tools; it's clearing up the backlog and stopping the new work from piling on. That means, things like minimizing alcohol, even short breaks like a month off can significantly reduce inflammation and liver fat. Reducing exposure to environmental toxins, like avoiding plastic containers, choosing low mercury fish, filtering drinking water, reading ingredient labels, cutting back on additives, preservatives, and artificial colors, um, eliminating or limiting over-the-counter medications like regular painkillers, unless absolutely necessary. It's one of the top causes of liver injury.
So, we start by getting the liver some breathing room.
Exactly. Just like fasting gives your digestive system a break, lowering toxic input gives your liver a chance to basically catch up. You can't detox if you're still, being toxed, so to say. Step one is always reducing what's coming in.
And now, a quick break to thank the sponsor of this show, Odin Labs. If you're struggling with chronic health issues and having difficulty solving them on your own, consider learning more about their bioenergetic protocol. Book a free consultation at odinhealthlab.com. That's odinhealthlab.com. That makes total sense. Once we've reduced the incoming load, what's the next step to support detox?
You know, detox isn't just about taking something out, it's also putting the right things in. Each detox phase requires specific nutrients. So, for example, for phase one, you need to have a really good B vitamin complex. So, B2, B3, B6, B12, folate, um, flavonoids, magnesium, things like that. So, for phase two, you need these nutrients. So amino acids like glycine, taurine, cysteine,
Okay.
methionine, plus sulfur compounds. In phase three, we need energy, right? Because we need to move things out. So mitochondrial support, things like CoQ10, uh, carnitine, B vitamins, again, magnesium, all of those help.
Can people get all of that from food?
Well, mostly yes. Like if you're talking about food, here's a starter list. So cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, they support both phase one and phase two. Uh, but we need to get it enough, and you need to be careful about anti-nutrients. So garlic and onions, high in sulfur for glutathione production. Beets, they're rich in betaine for methylation. Turmeric, and it's an anti-inflammatory and a bile stimulant. Artichokes, dandelion root, the traditional liver tonics. Animal liver packed with B12, folate, vitamin A, and iron. So these are some of the things you can do.
So a well-fed liver is a happy liver.
Exactly. And don't forget, some people with genetic variants like MTFHR or GST might need even more nutritional support to keep pathways humming. So, nourishing every phase of detox with the right nutrients, especially if your genetics kind of slow things down, is super important. I want to talk about something else here. Constipation is a detox emergency. If waste essentially isn't leaving your body, it's getting reabsorbed. Uh, that's not just uncomfortable, it's recirculating your toxins, hormones, and metabolic waste. Even if your liver processes a toxin perfectly, you still have to get it out. That means good bile flow, healthy kidneys, and a working gut are essential. So here's some tips to support bile flow. Eat bitter foods, so irregular endives, dandelion greens. Uh, Drink lots of water because bile needs water. Choline in eggs and lectin prevents bile stagnation. Movement is huge. It helps with gut motility and bile flow. And you can support elimination by eating fiber-rich foods. They bind toxins in bile. Regular bowel movements avoid constipation or toxins may essentially get reabsorbed. Probiotics and fermented foods support microbiome. Uh,
And this is where binders come in too?
exactly. Activated charcoal, chlorella, zeolite, and bentonite clay can help bind mobilized toxins, especially during weight loss, sauna, detox protocols. But they also should be used carefully, away from food or meds, and not long term. Detox doesn't stop at the liver; it essentially ends in toilet. And your mission here is to keep the bile moving and toxins leaving your body. That's like super important. So another thing I want to talk about is glutathione. It's your body's master antioxidant and detoxifier, especially for heavy metals and drug residues. But it depletes fast under stress, or like if you consume a lot of alcohol or inflammation. So you can boost glutathione by eating sulfur-rich foods like broccoli, garlic, onions, eggs. I don't know if you've seen, but there's like a little bit of a pattern happening here because we keep coming back to the same foods. Another good idea is support uh, by taking NAC. So it's a precursor uh, to glutathione, right? And because of that, it can boost your glutathione production. Using whey protein, if you tolerate it, of course, or glycine-rich collagen, right? That's another way to do it. Supplementing with liposomal glutathione or precursors. Supporting, cofactors like selenium and vitamin C also can help boost glutathione. So all of those things are very helpful.
Can low glutathione cause symptoms?
For sure, yes. Poor detox, frequent colds, brain fog, fatigue, even anxiety. Some people with genetic slowdowns, uh, like that GST gene mutation we mentioned earlier, are essentially vulnerable to this, right? So, glutathione is your kind of internal hazmat team, if you would, right? So make sure you got enough of it to make a difference.
You mentioned ATP earlier. Why does energy matter in detox?
Well, because detoxification takes energy, right? Because you need to get things out. So at every step from phase three, um, transporters to bile production, it all runs on ATP, which is molecule that essentially is used as energy in your body. So one thing that you can do to support mitochondria to produce energy are essentially kind of like things that help produce ATP, right? So CoQ10, it essentially helps power ATP production, right? It goes into mitochondria and it uses it to produce energy, right? L-carnitine support so it transports fats into mitochondria again to be transformed into ATP. Alpha lipoic acid, it's an antioxidant and glutathione recycler. Magnesium, it's a cofactor in ATP synthesis. And simple things like infrared sauna, cold exposure, exercise, they all stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis or production of energy.
So, detox and energy are two sides of the same coin.
Absolutely. If your mitochondria are sluggish, your detox will be as well. So to detox, your body needs energy, and if you support the engines, everything else will run smoother. I want to bring up a point. We really can't underestimate the basics, like simple things like sweating with exercise or sauna. It really does eliminate a lot of toxins. Things like lead, cadmium, arsenic, even. Movement activates lymph flow. Essentially your internal drainage system, and even breath work improves oxygen delivery and waste clearance.
What's a good weekly movement minimum?
You know, to be honest, as I get older, I am in favor of exercising less but more effectively. So even 30 minutes a day, simple things like walking, yoga, strength training makes a big difference, right? So you don't need to work out 10 hours a day. It can be very, very minimal, but it's going to make a big difference. Your lymph doesn't have a pump. You are the pump, right? So you need to essentially pump blood through your veins in order to do it. And that happens when you sweat, move, and breathe. Your body has a built-in detox tools, and they're free and always available. All you need is just to use them, really. Another thing that you can do is supplements. Um, they can be quite useful, right? So, like they're not. Think of them as tools, not crutches, right? So, I'm a big supporter of using supplements that can be useful in this process. So, I'll give you some examples. So, milk thistle is very good for cell protection,
It does.
protective factor for cells. Dandelion root I mentioned before, but it's a great bile mover, right? So if you have problem with constipation, it can definitely help move things along, so to say. Artichoke leaf supports cholesterol and metabolism and bile. Uh, Curcumin reduces inflammation in the liver, which is super, super important. And again, those binders we mentioned before, uh, if you're thinking you have had an issue with heavy metals, which a lot of people do, or going through some intense cleanse.
And this ties into how people feel mentally too, right?
Yeah, for sure. You can't forget it because toxin buildup and sluggish detox often show up as anxiety, right? We don't think that it's connected, but it really is. And it can be like anxiety, irritability, brain fog. So supporting liver function often improves mood and focus and overall emotional resilience. Uh, so some smart supplements can support liver recovery, but lifestyle is really the foundation. And yeah, mental clarity often follows the physical detox.
So, restoring liver function isn't a mystery cleanse. It's about reducing burden, giving it fuel, and helping the exit doors stay open.
Exactly. Think of it as a lifestyle, not a weekend fix. You can restore liver with consistency through food, movement, hydration, rest, and the right support. And when you do, it's not just the liver that feels better, it's your whole body.
So, Alex, we've talked a lot about how to support the liver, but detox doesn't just happen there, right? What about the rest of the body? I've heard people talk about things like chlorella, chelation therapy, even algae supplements. Do those actually play a role?
Oh, yeah, they definitely can. While the liver is the body's command center for detox, a lot of toxins are stored outside the liver, in fat tissues, bones, and even the brain. That's where the whole body detox strategies come in. These can help reduce the total toxic burden and support organs like kidneys, lungs, skin, and lymphatic system. Let's start with chlorella. It's a type of freshwater green algae that contains a special binding fiber in its cell wall. And that fiber can latch on to heavy metals like mercury, cadmium, and lead in the gut and pull them out through the stool.
So, it doesn't detox the liver directly, but helps eliminate what the liver has dumped into the gut? Is that how it works?
Yeah, exactly. It acts in the digestive tract. If you're doing any type of metal mobilization, even something gentle like eating cilantro or spirulina, it's great to pair it with chlorella to catch these metals and stop them from being reabsorbed into your body. Another one is spirulina. It's a blue green algae rich in protein and antioxidants. So it's a food. While it's not a chelator like chlorella, it can help reduce inflammation and support immune resilience.
What about chelation therapy? That one sounds serious.
It is, yeah. Chelation therapy uses agents like EDTA or DMPS, uh, typically through an IV. And it binds to metals like lead, mercury, arsenic, and pulls them out through urine. It's very effective in acute toxicity like lead poisoning, but off label use in wellness clinic is more controversial. So it's a serious business that needs to be done with a professional.
Why is it controversial? What makes it risky?
Well, because it's not without risk. Chelators can also pull out essential minerals like magnesium and zinc and stress the kidneys if used incorrectly. It should only really be done with a trained professional uh, who monitors your mineral status, kidney function, and total toxic load. Otherwise, it can be too much. Let's talk about binders for a second because they are kind of misunderstood. They don't actually detox the body per se. They work by grabbing toxins in the gut and preventing reabsorption. Here's a quick breakdown. So, activated charcoal is one. It's very good for acute exposures, or if when you're having gas or bloating. Um, Non-specific, but it does bind to nutrients as well. So like you use that basically in an emergency situation, and it can be quite effective. Bentonite clay and zeolite, they're mineral-based binders that are good for positively charged toxins like heavy metals and pesticides. Chitosan from shellfish binds to fat-soluble toxins. Modified citrus pectin, effective for lead, arsenic, and radioactive particles. Silica can help remove aluminum from the body. So here are some of the examples.
Should people take these binders daily? Or are they better used in specific situations?
Not necessarily the best used short term, especially when mobilizing toxins. Like, for example, when you're doing something like during sauna, fasting, or maybe a weight loss program to help mop up what's released essentially. And always take them away from food, supplements, or medications at least 1 or 2 hours because they can bind to actual nutrients that we need as well.
You mentioned earlier that the lungs and skin play a detox role too. Can we support those? Are there ways to help those systems?
Absolutely. Detox isn't just biochemical, it's physical too. So, sweating via infrared sauna or exercise helps eliminate arsenic, cadmium, lead, and some organic solvents. Dry brushing supports lymphatic system, which can carry waste out of the tissues. Deep breathing, even on breath work, will increase oxygen flow and support CO2 release. Nasal irrigation, like neti pots, can flush out pollutants and allergens. Hydrotherapy, like varying hot and cold showers, stimulates circulation and lymph movement.
So it's not all about pills and powders, there's actually a lot of physical things you can do.
You got it. Yeah, your skin, your lungs, and lymph are incredibly powerful detox systems. You just need to use them, really.
One thing I keep coming back to is how all this affects our brains. People say they feel clearer, calmer, even happier after detoxing. Is that just placebo, or is there actually something happening there?
Not at all. So, toxins interfere with neurotransmitters, hormones, and inflammation pathways. A congested detox system can lead to brain fog, anxiety, irritability, and even sleep disruption. Uh, when the liver and lymph are flowing, people feel lighter mentally and even more emotionally balanced.
So, detox is as much about how you feel as it is about lab results.
Exactly. It's about freeing the bandwidth in the system, both physically and mentally, really.
Okay, to recap, detox isn't just about the liver. We can support full body detox by using chlorella and algae to help bind and clear metals, considering IV chelation only under supervision, using binders carefully during mobilization, supporting skin, lungs, and lymph through sweating and movement, and recognizing how detox affects mental clarity and mood. That about cover it?
Well said. When we take a systems biology approach, we realize that detox is truly a whole body event, really.
That's why this isn't a fad, it's a lifelong rhythm.
Exactly. Detox isn't something you do for 3 days and then you stop. It's something that your body does every day. We just really need to support it and help it along.
All right, that wraps up this deep dive into the systems biology of detox. From liver function to binders to full body strategies. This one was packed.
Definitely. There's one thing I'd love people to take away from this is that detox isn't something separate from your everyday health. It's not a side mission. It's basically something that's happening 24/7, whether you really support it or not.
And if you do support it, even with just a few small changes, you'll start to feel the difference. More energy, more focus, better sleep, and maybe less of that weird foggy feeling that creeps in when the system's kind of backed up, you know? I mean, I noticed it myself when I started just drinking more water and cutting back on processed foods. The difference was, well, it wasn't overnight, but it was definitely noticeable after a week or two.
Exactly. So instead of looking for the next cleanse or magic bullet, look at the big picture. Uh, what are you feeding your body physically, emotionally, and environmentally? Pardon the pun, but that's really the next paradigm.
Couldn't agree more. And if today's episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share this with a friend, or leave us a review. It really helps get the word out. You know, we put a lot of work into researching these topics, and hearing that it's actually helping people makes it all worthwhile.
And we got a challenge for you. Why don't you pick one of the detox upgrades that we talked about today and do it for 7 days? Maybe it's a dandelion tea or skipping plastic bottles or sweating daily, and then tell us how you feel using hashtag next paradigm detox. Tag us and we'll repost our favorites.
We love seeing the real life shifts happening in our community. You've got this. We'll be back soon with more on how to work with your biology, not against it. I'm actually really excited about next week's episode, too. I think you all are going to find it super practical.
And thanks for listening to Next Paradigm by Odin Labs. Please don't forget to visit our sponsor, Odin Labs. If you need help solving a health issue that you're not able to do on your own, please book a free consultation at odinhealthlab.com. That's ODIN healthlab.com. Talk to you next time. Bye.